The digital release for the Justice League movie is now out, and a couple of deleted scenes and a bit of storyboard have leaked its way online. So we're going to be talking about that this week. Joining me in the Wave Rider this week, we have
Stuart,
Rob.
and I'm Liam. And if you enjoy this podcast, please remember you can subscribe to us everywhere where podcasts live. Stitcher Radio, iTunes, SoundCloud, you name it, chances are we're there. And you can also find us across social media, Legends of Podcasting. Let's start the show. During the 21st century, comic books conquered the world and murdered everyone's spare time. I have assembled an elite team to hunt comic book stuff down throughout media and to cover their rise to power. Unfortunately, my plan is opposed by general life obligations, meaning instead of daily, we can do this weekly, thanks to something we have sworn our allegiance to: time management. In the future, we ourselves may not be heroes, but if we succeed, we will be remembered as the Legends of Podcasting. So the digital release of Justice League movie has come out. Now, just as a quick refresher, I'm just going to go through the synopsis of the Justice League movie just to remind you all of it. Okay, so fueled by his restored faith in humanity and inspired by Superman's selfless act, Bruce Wayne enlists newfound ally Diana Prince to face an even greater threat. Together, Batman and Wonder Woman work quickly to recruit a team to stand against this newly awakened enemy. Despite the formation of an unprecedented League of Heroes, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and The Flash, it may be too late to save the planet from an assault of catastrophic proportions. So that's the synopsis. The digital release has now come out. Most of the bonus features, if not all the bonus features, are really coming on the physical release of it, which is going to be in March 26th. We're going to get the actual Blu-ray release, which we're all looking forward to and checking out all the bonus features, because as we all know, there's a lot of deleted stuff from that movie. The movie had a bit of a troubled production because of personal stuff for Scott Snyder. So it didn't end up being the vision that he initially set out to make. But as a result of that, means that there's the potential of seeing some very cool deleted scenes. So what we've seen so far, we've got two little deleted scenes. So let's talk about those first of all. Stuart, why don't you talk us through these two deleted scenes?
Yeah, so they're very short, but also amazingly awesome. So the first one that I saw was of Clark Kent after he's been resurrected. I'm assuming after the farmhouse scene where he sort of goes back to normal with Lois and his mum, he's walking back through the Kryptonian ship, and these sort of pod things open to the side, and a couple of suits appear. One being the black Superman suit, which there was massive rumours that he was actually going to be wearing in the film. And I think I read stories ages ago from the Snyder Cut, as they call it, that he actually does wear it in the Snyder Cut, but they obviously changed how it works, and that he just had the normal blue and red suit on. But the fact even that it's just even in there from the old comic book, I think is quite a cool little nod just to the comic book in itself. And then he sort of turns and looks into the just off to the camera and smiles with sort of a light on him, assuming that's the sort of lighter blue suit that he wears for the rest of the film. But yeah, I mean, it has the cool his cool Man of Steel theme tune as well going for it with a dun dun, which just gets me every time. Anyway, there's goosebumps go up and down my arms every time.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So, but yeah, I thought it was quite cool having it was like the space suit, I think, that you see in Man of Steel that they like Zod and everyone wear when they're looking around for people, and also say the black suit is obviously the main talking point in that scene. I think it's really cool. I'd love to have him to be wearing it, but the way the story sort of unfolded, they did it. I don't think it would have made sense for him to randomly have a black suit, because the whole point in the comic books, I believe, was very, sort of like it was like a solar energy recharging suit.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably just as well they didn't. And it's good to see it. It's good that they decided to include that. But given how, and you, Stuart, you know how much of a least of a fan I am about the whole way they've handled the death and resurrection of Superman in the cinematic universe, it probably didn't have much of a place in the film, if I'm being perfectly honest. But yeah, I can see why they cut it. But it also at the same time, it's good to see at least some people are paying attention to the Superman lore, and it made it in there. So.
Yeah, I'm sure that in the original scripts, the original plans for Snyder, I feel pretty confident that he would have worn the actual black suit in there, and because we know the story would have played out very differently.
But yeah, it's the thing with this is the Scott Snyder cut was never
Zack
finished.
Snyder.
There isn't a Snyder cut.
Yeah.
What?
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder. Yeah, not
Snyder.
not Scott.
Yeah, definitely not
Scott
Scott.
does the comics, not the movies.
That's cool.
So sorry, Zach.
That's all right.
Yeah, we know that his cut was there's not a completely finished like version of his cut. So we're never going to see a Scott Snyder cut because Scott Snyder didn't make the movie.
How many times do you want to say that?
I'm going to just say Snyder from here on.
Yeah, good plan.
I think you're right there, Liam. I think what we'd probably end up with is something like, have you ever seen the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2?
Yes.
Where they sort of finished it off with animatics, storyboards, and whatever CGI they hadn't quite worked out. So I don't think there is a full Snyder cut ever going to be available. But if they did do it, it would be similar to the Donner cut of Superman 2. But it would be interesting to see what they actually had planned, I think, with regards to what we've seen from some of these cut scenes.
Yeah, I'd like to see on the Blu-ray release, maybe even like a featurette. I mean, just for them to explain. It might not be Zach that's going to explain it, but maybe one of the producers or something that was on it saying, "Look, this was the plan," just so us as fans know. I mean, in some ways, that might sort of spark a revolution with the fans even more, because lots of people want to see it anyway. What I'm more curious is that there was rumours that the movie was 2 hours 45 minutes, even after Josh Whedon had got his hands on it. But they cut it down by 45 minutes. So I'd like to see those 45 minutes they cut. I'm assuming we're not going to get 45 minutes of deleted scenes. So we're going to get a few. But, I mean, they've done an extended cut of Batman v Superman. They did an extended cut of Suicide Squad. I didn't know that was only 15 minutes. You'd like to think that they would just give the fans just say, look, in the cinema we had to cut down to 2 hours. Okay, fair enough. But look, this is what it was. That's what I would like to see that, and hopefully some of these deleted scenes. Because I mean, even in the trailers, if you look back at all the trailers they released, there's a lot of footage in there that didn't even make the film.
That's kind of what you see from the second scene, isn't it, Stuart? I mean, at the end of the first trailer for Justice League, you see Alfred looking at someone off camera and saying, "Oh, he said you'd come."
Yeah.
Which leads us into
yeah.
Sorry.
It says hope has returned or something. Or it says hope you're not too late. So put nodding. So you blatantly know it's Superman. But again, you say that was cut, but you see the clip, and you got Superman flying down, all smiley with no CGI'd moustache. So Snyder was actually going to make him smile, despite what people say.
Good point.
And sort of spoke to Alfred, and I'm guessing that's how he knows where they are, because obviously in the theatrical cut. How does he? I mean, he's got super hearing, I suppose, so he could hear lots of explosions going on. But otherwise, how would he know where the Justice League has gone to stop Steppenwolf? It's just a tiny.
Actually, you know what? You say like he's got the. You say like he's smiling and there's no CGI'd moustache, but how do we know that? I guess wait. I haven't seen the digital release that they went out the other day, but have they gone back over and reworked the moustache? Or is it looking the same way it did in the movie?
I haven't watched the digital release. I've got my Blu-ray on pre-order. I'm waiting for that to come out.
Yeah, same here. So it's pretty cool to see these to see some of the deleted scenes. But at the same time, you say about an extended cut of the movie, and for Batman v Superman, it absolutely needed it, and it made a world of difference. The extended version of that. But for this movie, like Justice League was fine. Like that was a fun movie. Like I enjoyed it. So for me, I don't know if I need an extended cut of it, but I would like to see, some of the deleted scenes.
Yeah, well, I enjoyed the film as well. I thought it flowed quite well. But waiting like 30 plus years to see a Justice League film, so an extra 45 minutes, I would be cool with that.
Oh yeah,
I could a 6 hour cut would be fine by me. Don't we worry about that. But,
you've been waiting 30 years for a Justice League film. You've not seen the mid-90s one.
No,
film.
No. Well, I have seen that. Me and Liam
have you really not seen that?
Yeah, we watched it together. I think. We sat there we sat there thinking it was awesome. I was like, oh god, with the overweight Flash. And
Because
the
at
old
that
marshmallow.
point, it was awesome to get it. At that point, because you
That's all
never
we
thought
had.
you'd see anything like that.
Oh, exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah, it's all we had. So it was amazing just to have it. Now look at us, we're so spoiled.
I know. So we complain about nitpick about
Something comes
everything.
out and we criticize it for the tiniest thing.
Exactly.
Uh,
But, I mean,
I think my
talking about
my sorry. The only reason
Go
I
on.
was looking forward to maybe seeing a bit more of Justice League is because, as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't brilliantly enamored with the way they handled the death of Superman at the end of Batman v Superman, and I was
Yeah.
hoping they were going to do something with it in this movie to expand upon it. But as it is, it's kind of skipped over, and we all knew Superman was going to be back anyway. So it would have been nice to see some more of that worked in there, just to sort of expand upon the reasons behind it and how it was all going to work out for him.
yeah, I get
And
it. I,
give us a
to be fair, I love the story, and I know I'm a massive fan of Batman v Superman, and I know that the Doomsday even thing at the end was a bit sort of shoveled on, but I think they did it. Well, I know Zack Snyder sort of pitched it to them that if you got Superman, why do you need a Justice League? Which even in the Justice League movie kind of shows, because as soon as he shows up, because they're sort of they're under it and they're about to lose, and then as soon as Superman shows up, it's like, oh god, this guy again, like just punches him and it's like done. So I know I get where people are coming from, because I'm the same with the going slightly off topic, the Thor Ragnarok film, where they just sort of brush over World War Hulk, which is probably Hulk's greatest ever story, and they just shoveled it into a 20-minute thing on for Ragnarok. So, but I get it. But I kind of think that the only way you could kill Superman to bring Justice League in is to do it via Doomsday. Otherwise, people would just complain. So I don't know. It's one of those
Yeah.
things where they did it for the kind of the greater good to bring the Justice League film in, and I was sort of pleased they did. Because I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked at the end of BBS. I did not think they were going to kill him off. I was like, what? They dead? What?
Yeah, me too. I was not expecting that at all, and it was. I found it amazing when they did that, because that is, or the Death and World Without Superman and Return of Superman. That whole story arc in the comics has always been my favorite story arc in comics. I've reread that so many times, and when I realized that they were doing that in the movie, and it was just tagged on the end, I was in so much disbelief and really disappointed, because the first version I saw was the theatrical cut, like everyone.
Yeah.
And in that version of it, because they'd cut so much out of it, for me, I wasn't that invested in the characters. Like, so when Superman then dies, it was kind of like, I didn't really feel that much of a loss. So I was just really disappointed that they just kind of threw on the death of Superman in there.
That's
And
kind
I
of where I
found that
felt
really
it was going as
annoying.
well.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then
seeing
again, they in Justice League, obviously it's had the scissors taken to its runtime. You don't really get a focus on him. We knew he was going to be in the film anyway from the trailers and all promotional material. So immediately that powerful impact at the end of BBS is retconned straight away. And then the scenes that we could have seen with him coming back to life and recovering and deciding whether or not he wanted to go through with being Superman again, this all seems to have been left by the wayside, because he, halfway through the film, they bring him back to life and then he's immediately there helping them in his blue suit.
And that sort of brings an interesting point, and I think, and this also, it's a nice little segue as well to the leaked or released storyboard bit that we've seen online, is that my understanding off of previous interviews I've listened to or read or something, the Snyder's original vision was across 3 movies. He had a story arc which went across Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League, and Justice League was going to be 2 movies. But it was, so I guess 4 movies is what we're saying there, but Justice League Part 1 and 2.
Yeah.
He had a story arc that was going across all of those, which started in Man of Steel and then would have ended in Justice League. But a lot of the Justice League movie ended up getting it got rewritten and changed, shuffled around, and certain things brushed over. And one of the things there is the whole Darkseid thing, where we saw the nightmare sequence in Batman v Superman. That we know from that there was going to be a Darkseid, and with this, now that we know from the leaked storyboard that we were even going to see him in the movie was originally the plan. And it looks like it's the nightmare kind of sequence, like location. So it makes you wonder that as that whole thing has been kind of removed, like where are they going to go from this point? Are they completely changing directions? Because we know that like Flashpoint is really going to be the next, or that that's the Flash. Maybe it's clearly Justice League, just like Civil War was Captain America, but really was Avengers.
Yeah, Avengers 2.5.
Because so many people are in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what Flashpoint's going to be, because it has to be. I mean, you're going to end up with, assuming they do it like in the comics, you've got the war between the Amazons and the
Atlanteans.
and Aquaman, Atlanteans.
You got Thomas Wayne as Batman.
That's going to be a very big, which would be awesome.
Especially the actor. I can't remember the actor. The actor, the guy who plays comedian in The Watchmen, and he's in Walking Dead. So they must have picked him for BVS
exactly.
just for
We're
that.
going to have comedian. Like having the comedian as Batman. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
Like he's perfect. I think that would be really cool.
I think they must have cast him for BVS knowing that they were going to do Flashpoint, because there's no coincidence that he is like a young, quite sort of fit guy. Well, it's not young, but like he's not like an old man. He's not going to be able to be Batman. So I think that was sort of clever casting.
Yeah. But the thing here is like, well, what's going to happen with all these things that were set up previously in Batman v Superman, and was now basically removed from Justice League? I wonder what's going to happen with this, because this was all meant to pay off in the Justice League movie, and it's not. So
I agree. So
You'll end up.
I see it
You're
very.
going to end up with the Last Jedi scenario.
We'll just kill everyone off. I see very much what you were saying about the story arc, Liam. I see it very much as, from Superman's point of view, is Man of Steel is him finding out who he is, and he isn't Superman at that point. He's just a guy with powers who just got a suit from his dad. He's like real dad, and then a bunch of Kryptonians come along who are the same, as strong as him, but are military trained. And Clark's never had to throw a punch in his life, or couldn't throw a punch in his life, so he did his best with what he could do at the time. And then in BVS, you've got the repercussions of all that destruction, and there's so much on through that film of like, does the world need Superman? Why is he doing this? Which I know lots of people hated, and it made Superman really moody. But if I was Superman, that'd be awesome. But and I had everyone complain. But everyone on the news every day complaining about what I've been doing, I'd be down in the dumps as well. I wouldn't be like flying around all happy, Christopher Reeve style. But then him dying, and the world going, oh crap, this is he just sacrificed himself to save us. He is actually a hero, and it sort of united the world. So when he comes back, maybe that was another thing that was cut from the film, is you don't really see him finding out that the world actually now sort of respects him and wants him back, kind of thing. And even Batman, the guy who tried to kill him, many times in the Justice League film, which is some of the best scenes I think of, is like I'd happily trade places with him. He's more human than I ever was, all this kind of stuff. So by the end of it, he sort of is the Superman everyone wants. So I see it as by the end of the Justice League film, he is now Superman, the sort of happy, light-hearted Superman that everyone wants to see. And I enjoy the journey of it, and I think that all the things that happened in all those films needed to happen for him to get there. Because I wouldn't have liked him to in Man of Steel to put the suit on and be like, "Hey, I'm Superman. I'm going to save the world, and I'm going to save all these people from Zod and stuff." Because he'd never done anything like that before, so why would he? It's sort of like,
No, that's what got me a little bit with Batman and Superman, and the theatrical cut was more in that one than the director's version. But you get to the end of the film after he's been killed by Doomsday, and everyone's like, "Oh no, we've lost Superman," and I'm sitting there, well, why do you care? You never showed any interest in liking him, and he never really showed any interest in helping you. It's like it was never really an earned death, if that made sense. It was just kind of like we had to get Superman to a point where he could die, so he'd be happy to come back. For me, that was one of the bit of the scenes that turned me off slightly in BVS. But yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad we didn't get to see Darkseid. I was kind of hoping when Steppenwolf got beamed up with the at the end when he's been defeated, I kind of thought he would land back on Apocalypse and Darkseid just be standing there and be disappointed. But
That would have been awesome.
Even just that would
You
have
know,
been,
if
would have been enough. I'd be like, yeah, I'm done. But the fact they were going to have like the nightmare scene, from what I sort of read in the article, was it was something like that. Superman is after he came back, he's obviously sleeping in the Kent house. I'm guessing he like had a vision of the same thing Batman did, and was just like, crap, I need to stop this from
really.
happening. I swear that's what I read. Maybe I misread it. I thought he had a vision as well of what the world would be like.
I didn't hear about that, but
Well,
the thing that comes with
we
that vision as well is the fact that in Batman v Superman that you do have the Flash travels back, you know, to send that message to Batman,
yeah.
sticking through the computer. Like, is that ever going to happen? That's the thing. It was like that was clearly going to be something that was going to happen in the Justice League
something
movie.
that Ross pointed out, who's not here today, is he thinks that was answered him because that he, Batman's like, oh, I'm going to bring the big gun, and he brings Lois. Now, how would he know to bring Lois unless the Flash went back in time and said Lois is the key?
Well, it's the thing. Like we didn't see in the Justice League movie, we didn't see the Flash because the costume or the armor, whatever that the Flash is wearing when he comes back is more than what he wears in the Justice League movie. It's got like an extra layer to it. We never even saw him get that in the.
Isn't that because he's from that dark side apocalypse world, so he needs armor to protect himself? It's kind of like the Injustice comic that came out, where they sort of all armor up and stuff to protect themselves. I thought that the Flash was from the apocalypse world, and he's coming back to tell Batman to save.
And I do think that, yeah, I think that is the way that it was probably originally going to go, in my opinion, and that it was probably in the Justice League movie that we were originally meant to see the whole world go to hell, and Superman to turn evil, and maybe that was on Apocalypse, or maybe that was actually Earth is essentially becoming like Apocalypse, and everything's just gone really sour.
Yeah.
And then the Flash then needs to go back to try and everyone's dying, and then Flash goes back, sends a message to Batman, and that's what was needed. And then this time around he does things differently, and he brings out the big guns.
Yeah.
And Lois appears. Was it Lois?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing for me is like, well, it would have been nice to see that play out in Justice League, so that then, because instead we're left with just coming up with our own theories that like, oh, well, that must have been what happened, and we're not seeing that alternate timeline. We're seeing the one this timeline because the Flash came back. But yeah, I would like to see if lots of movies, usually after they've been released, the original shooting scripts end up finding their way online at some point. Most movies do. I'm hoping that at some point that Snyder's script for Justice League would appear. I'd love to give it a read. Or if they would have released it, I don't think they'd ever release it to buy. But yeah, I'd love to.
You never know.
Be able to read
30 years time, in 30 years time, they might be able to somehow put together a Snyder cut like they did with the Christopher Reeve Superman films. Keep you hanging on.
Well, so that's it for this episode. So Justice League, we've got some of those deleted scenes, which have been very interesting. Looking forward to seeing what more is going to be included on the actual Blu-ray release. That's March 26th. If you haven't pre-ordered your copy, go do it now. Get yourself a copy, and once that's out, I'm sure we'll be revisiting this again and talking a bit more about Justice League. So don't forget, if you enjoyed this episode, like it, comment on it, send us some messages. We're across social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just look for Legends of Podcasting and subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, anywhere where this stuff is, you'll find us. So until next time, bye.